Well, that's a good question, and it's also an easy one for me. The initial motivation was to take an exercise in marketing, which was done by typing, and to make it more accessible to the students anywhere. Something that could be put down and picked up again, and the electronic blog is the answer. So for me, a portfolio, which is what I use the blog for, was a way for my students to learn a little bit about what the content was in each week, but also it was a way for me to see how much they've learned, and that was the original motivation, to simplify it. I would think that the reason we chose WordPress is straightforward. I'm always trying to find the best platform, the best technology, and so what I did was I set up a sample portfolio page on about 5 different blogging platforms, and WordPress was the most secure. And that was, in those days, it was an issue. It was also the most flexible, so that the students could change their little environment very easily, and they had total control over it, and that was what I wanted. It was secure, it was flexible, and it was reliable. So that was the third reason. We didn't want something which would be here one day and not here the next, and WordPress has a reputation. So for me, those are the 3 top reasons. The class that I'm teaching is a hybrid course. So firstly, the 1 hour online is taken up where the students take what I learn in class, what they learn in class, and then they look for an example in the industry and tie the 2 together. So, for example, let's say we covered a chapter in marketing. Well, they take the theory and they look for practical examples in the real industry, and that's how they tie the 2 together. So they would give an example that they found online, and they'd write about it, quoting the text and quoting the author of the text. So they're thinking very critically, because they're tying theory and practice together, and they're also thinking about it and writing about it. So it's highly connected to the face-to-face component of the course. The response is a little bit mixed, and I think that overall the response has improved from year to year, because 5 years ago when I originally did it, the students, first of all, had a learning curve, and so that had to be dealt with, and that was certainly an issue. I think the response has been much better in the last few years, simply because I've changed some of the components of the course. Originally, it was just a personal learning environment, a place where they could go in and think and write. And I would go in, I'd be the only person who could see it. And we've changed that a little bit. Right now, their portfolios are open to the world, so anybody in the world can see them. That's one thing that's changed. And they're asked to comment on their classmates' work. So they get feedback from their classmates, they get feedback from me, and that's made a big difference. So there's a little network going on just in WordPress, but not only is it a really good example of supportive learning, but they can use that as an example in a reference. This is the work I've done. So that's the next step. So it's not just one step WordPress. In fact, it's 2, 3, or 4 steps, and it's a natural progression.